In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at all three singles from Status Quo in 1994 and ranking them. Now, it's worth noting that this list of three does not include their collaboration with the Manchester United football team, in which they got to number one with a reworking of Burning Bridges called Come On You Reds. This is primarily because although they're listed as producers on the track, they're not actually credited. I'm mainly concerned with the band's own output during this point. The three singles released in this year were issued to promote the album Thirsty Work, which is not a favourite, I think, among the hardcore Quo fans. What do you think of it? Do let me know. I have said previously how much I love this album, but I think it's mainly to do with the fact it was one of the earliest that I heard. I think it was the first album I ever got by them that wasn't a compilation or a live album, so I have a certain amount of nostalgia attached to it. However, when I put my music brain on, I do like the melodies, and while it isn't the most Quo-like in terms of production or even musical style, the arrangements on it are really nice. There's just a really nice selection of songs. So let's go forward to the ranking. At number 3, I'm putting it here, Restless. Now, Restless, it's a wonder that it charted. It was written by Jennifer Warnes and sung by her in 1979. Francis always liked the song, seemingly. I think he mentioned it as early as 10 years prior to this in interviews. And in 1994, he decided to record it with the band, and they performed it live for a while with Rick on keyboards, which must have been unusual, because you go in there, you know, with your double denim or whatever, ready to rock out, and then Rick puts down the guitar and goes on to keyboards. Looking at it musically, the production is really nice. Francis did a really good job with that. The key of the tune, I think, is slightly lower than when Jennifer Warnes sang it, but it's still quite high for Francis' range. But yeah, I like the song. I just think that the other two songs in this countdown are better, I think, and perhaps sounded more like Quo even when they didn't. This kind of seemed like a very strange choice for a single. But then, like Who Gets the Love, maybe they were just aiming for a slightly different audience, perhaps trying to capture the imagination. But yeah, what do you think of Restless? Do let me know. Number 2 in this ranking is the single Sherri Don't Fail Me Now, which reached 38 in the UK singles charts. It was written by Andy Bown and John Rhino Edwards, and I am sure I've read somewhere that Rick was supposed to sing it. It seems more in his range than Francis. Again, Francis singing much higher, I think, than he normally would. But this is one of those songs where if you heard it, aside from Francis' vocal, it doesn't really sound like Status Quo. It's very keyboard heavy, and the video itself is very cool, but I would have liked a just simple video of the band performing. That would have been great, but you know, them appearing on the side of buildings and on TVs and things, that's cool. They're obviously trying to tap into the modern music market. And the chorus itself is very catchy, but perhaps not the most Quo-like. And, you know, like I say, lots of keyboards in there, but good bass line, good melody. I mean, what do you think of it? Do you think it's perhaps one of their best, most underrated singles of the 90s? Let me know in the comments below. So that just leaves number 1, which is I Didn't Mean It, which reached 21 on the UK singles charts, and also here in Sweden got to 21 and Ireland 23. Their success in the UK earned them a position on Top of the Pops, where they made their 100th appearance. And yeah, it was on TV recently actually, and Francis wearing a very interesting shirt there. Been trying to get one myself. Francis, if you're watching this, I want to know what shirt you were wearing for the I Didn't Mean It campaign. You're also wearing it in the music video as well. The music video is kind of fun. Again, it's a music video. You can see the band performing, but there's also a bit of play acting in there. It's sort of in a... I love the role of Jeff Rich as a judge, you know, laughing at funny videos on his little TV screen there. If that was now, it would be a mobile phone and he'd be watching YouTube videos. So maybe Quo were ahead of their time somewhat. It was released on CD and 7-inch vinyl. I think there might have also been a 12-inch version. And it featured many famous people on the front cover, and it says here on the cover 10 famous profiles are shown who got into trouble with justice. Hence, you know, the title I Didn't Mean It. I mean, it's clever, and it means that they weren't just putting another image of the band on there. So here are the faces that are on it. We have Diego Maradona, Robert Maxwell, Ben Johnson, Richard Nixon, John Major, Adam and Eve, Mike Tyson, Lester Piggott, Ken Dodd, and Graham Taylor. Now Ken Dodd, Francis mentions him quite a lot in interviews now, so it's interesting that he once appeared on a Quo record sleeve. What do you think of this cover? I think it's really clever because it's trying to give a concept to the song, which was written by John David, and the song itself is kind of a 12-bar rock and roll number. Andy's piano features quite prominently, possibly the most prominent in his piano since Rockin' All Over the World. It's in the intro there along with those big loud guitars, and the fact that it got that high in the charts, it, you know, usually in those days and possibly still now, something will reach that high in the charts when it manages to go outside of its core fan base. And I think that's what they managed to do. I think with this song and its catchy chorus and the fact it sounded like Status Quo, perhaps not as heavy as they had been previously, but nice lyrics, nice concept. And so I think it is the best single that they released in 1994. And at some point, I'll do like different years, like my ranking of these. And then what I'll do is, once I've done all the years of the 90s that they released singles, I'll then put it to a vote perhaps. And then we can do like a ranking thing of that. Make this into a regular thing if you want to, obviously. Let me know, what was your favourite single from 1994. It's worth noting as well, I might do other decades and other times. I'm not saying that the 90s were better than anything else. It's just that when I looked down the milestones for this year, it kind of dawned on me that there were enough kind of could be underrated singles in the 30-year mark, because we're in 2024, that this would be an interesting video. Let me know what you'd like to see next, and I will see you again for another episode of the Quo-Cast.